Have you ever noticed how the stories we tell the most, the ones that make our friends laugh out loud or cause us to pause with a nostalgic sigh, almost never come from times when everything went exactly as planned? No one enthusiastically recounts the day their flight landed on time, the weather was perfectly sunny, and their hotel room matched the photos online. That kind of smooth, uneventful perfection tends to be forgettable. In contrast, the stories we revisit again and again often revolve around moments of chaos, surprise, or misfortune. The time your luggage vanished into thin air, the night your car broke down in the middle of nowhere and strangers came to your rescue, or the day your outdoor wedding was drenched in rain and everyone danced barefoot in the mud. These are the moments that become stories. These are the moments that become part of who we are. Ironically, it's often the frustrations, the detours, the flat tires, and awkward silences that give life its flavor, if we allow them to. The message here is deceptively simple. Whatever happens, find a way to enjoy it. Not through toxic positivity that denies pain or difficulty, and not by pretending that everything is fine when it clearly isn't, but through a deeper, more grounded approach, embracing life as it actually unfolds, not merely as we had hoped or planned. The idea is to live not only for the best-case scenarios, but also for the unpredictable moments in between. Let's explore how we can begin to do that in a world that constantly tells us otherwise. In modern culture, particularly in the United States, there's a strong emphasis on the ideal, the flawless, the curated experience. The dream vacation with ocean views, the picture-perfect wedding, the lifestyle that influencers on Instagram seem to master so effortlessly. The underlying message is this: if you plan hard enough, work long enough, and think positively enough, things will align. No hiccups, no chaos, just smooth, uninterrupted success. But reality doesn't follow that script. Life doesn't care about your itinerary. A snowstorm won't delay just because it's your wedding weekend. A flight won't wait because you've had a bad week. Life plays by its own rules, and sometimes it switches from classical symphony to jazz mid-song. And when it does, the tighter you grip your expectations, the more crushing the disappointment will feel. The alternative? Flexibility, humor, curiosity. The quiet strength to say, this isn't what I planned, but maybe it's what I needed. We tend to forget that every inconvenience has the potential to become a great story. A missed train might turn into an unforgettable conversation with a stranger. A power outage might inspire an impromptu candlelit dinner and laughter-filled board games. A derailed vacation might introduce you to a city you never intended to visit, but ended up loving. These moments aren't just silver linings. They're the golden threads of real life. In fact, think about the most beloved stories your grandparents tell. More often than not, those tales involve something going wrong, and it's that imperfection that makes them rich and memorable. Because ultimately, life isn't about amassing perfect moments, it's about collecting meaningful ones. And meaning often comes wrapped in messiness. The only real power we have in any given situation lies in our response. We can't control the weather, airline delays, how others behave, or whether technology decides to betray us in a moment of need. But we can always choose our reaction. That doesn't mean forcing a fake smile in the middle of disaster. It means acknowledging your feelings, frustration, disappointment, fear, and then deciding how you want to carry them. This, at its core, is emotional resilience. Psychologists call it cognitive reframing, the ability to shift your perspective and therefore shift your emotional reality. Instead of saying, "This ruined everything," you might ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this?" Or in simpler, more human terms, "Well, at least it'll make for one hell of a story." There's a popular phrase people lean on during hard times: everything happens for a reason. It sounds reassuring, but it can be misleading. Because sometimes bad things happen for no reason at all. Accidents, illnesses, losses, they're not always karmic justice or cosmic puzzles. They're just life being life. Rather than forcing yourself to believe in some grand unseen plan, consider a more empowering alternative. Whatever happens, I'll make it meaningful. This shift puts the power back in your hands. It transforms you from a passive receiver of fate into an active co-author of your story. You don't need to love the pain, but you can decide what you'll do with it. And that is real freedom. In the American psyche especially, there's a deep obsession with control. We pride ourselves on planning, optimizing, and micromanaging every detail of our lives. From color-coded calendars to productivity apps, we design our existence like engineers building a rocket. But here's the paradox. The more we try to control every outcome, the more fragile we become when something falls out of line. Control breeds anxiety when life refuses to cooperate. So instead of doubling down on rigid systems, Maybe we need to cultivate adaptability. There's wisdom in saying, I don't know what's next, but I'll face it when it comes. That's not defeat. That's maturity. And you don't need a life-altering event to practice this mindset. It's just as relevant in the small, frustrating moments of daily life. Like when your coffee spills on your shirt minutes before a big meeting. When your kids come down with the flu the night before your long-awaited getaway. When your Wi-Fi cuts out during a critical Zoom interview. These minor crises can be seen as interruptions or as invitations. Invitations to pause, to laugh, to connect with others, to remember that you are, in fact, human. One of the fastest ways to regain perspective is to ask, how will I tell this story a year from now? Suddenly, you're not a victim of misfortune. You're the narrator, choosing how the scene plays out. If you think about the moments that make a trip, a relationship, or even an entire life memorable, it's not usually the parts where everything went according to plan. It's the surprises, the upsets, the things you didn't expect that knocked you off balance and forced you to adapt. You probably don't recall the meal you had during a work trip last year, but you'll never forget getting lost in a strange city and stumbling upon a local dive with unforgettable food and friendly strangers. Authentic memories are born in the unexpected, so make space for the detours. Let them unfold. And that brings us to a small but powerful philosophy, one that could change everything. No matter what happens, make it worth remembering. You don't need to enjoy every struggle, nor do you need to sugarcoat your frustration. But you do have the option to turn chaos into character, to mine wisdom from mess, to forge connection through hardship. That won't make life easier, but it will make it richer. In the end, what will define you won't be how tightly you clung to your plans, but how gracefully you adapted when life tossed them aside. People will remember how you stayed calm when others panicked, how you laughed when you could have complained, how you turned inconvenience into storytelling and misfortune into meaning. That's the legacy we leave behind, not perfection but presence, not control but connection. So next time something goes sideways, ask yourself, can I turn this into a memory I'll be proud to carry? Chances are you can, because life was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to be lived, and the most unforgettable parts often come dressed in disguise, as detours, delays, or disappointments. So lean into the chaos, say yes to the mess, and remember, whatever happens, make it worth the story. When we look back on our lives, it won't be the carefully arranged plans or flawless routines that leave the deepest imprint on our hearts. It will be the raw, unscripted moments, the ones that tested us, surprised us, and ultimately revealed who we really are. The beauty of life is not found in its predictability, but in its capacity to shake us up, to stretch our hearts, and to teach us that even when things fall apart, something beautiful can still emerge from the pieces. In every missed flight, every awkward silence, every broken plan, there's a quiet opportunity, a moment to laugh, to learn, or to simply be fully present. And that presence, that willingness to embrace the imperfection of life with open arms and an open heart, is where real joy begins. So if you remember nothing else, remember this: you were never meant to live a perfect story. You were meant to live a meaningful one filled with detours, breakdowns, belly laughs, and memories so vivid they don't fade with time. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you whole. Whatever happens, no matter how messy, uncertain, or uncomfortable, choose to meet it with grace, with resilience, and maybe even with a bit of humor. Because this life, in all its chaos, is not just happening to you. It's happening for you. And in the end, it's not about controlling every chapter. It's about making each one count. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit the like button. It might seem like a small thing, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, videos with more likes tend to get shown to more people. So your like really helps this video reach others who might need it too. And if you find my content valuable, consider subscribing. It really helps more people discover it. Thanks for watching, and I wish you and your family good health and peace. See you in the next video.